Thank you so much for joining us here on Going Beyond. My guest today is Leeza Harris. She's quite a sparkling personality and a very old friend. Now, Leeza is an international event manager. She's done events in different parts of the world, in Sydney, in Sri Lanka, in Bangladesh, and in Macau. So she comes to our show with lots of interesting details, I'm sure, and I do hope that you're going to enjoy listening to her. Leeza, thank you for finding the time. Now, tell me for a start, when you talk about event management, it's a very new thing in our country, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's something that's just catching on. In fact, when I started out, there weren't any courses to certify you as an event manager. You just had to find your way, and we've learned through experience.
Right. Indeed, when you talk about experience, do you believe that you get better and better as you go along? Do you come up with more ideas? How does it work?
I think that in order to say that it's just the experience that counts isn't fair, because you need to keep updating yourself, you need to keep studying, understanding the trends that are being evolved and which are coming about, and embracing all that. That makes the difference.
Right. When you talk about trends that are coming up, are you talking about different customers who want different things, or do people have different ideas, or are you talking about the use of technology in your industry? How does it work?
Primarily the use of technology in the industry. That has revolutionized events, and people are beginning to understand the value of using technology.
But if I'm your client, how would I know what technology can be used? How is it going to work for me? Does it make my event better? Does it, what does it do for me?
That's where I come in, if I may say so.
Yes.
Because when a client comes to me and says, okay, I want this kind of event, just say X, then I believe that it's my responsibility and my duty to explain the different possibilities, how to bring that event about. By stating the pros, the cons, the use of technology, if it's warranted, and how it would benefit the client.
Right. But if you have to come and explain this to me, Leeza, do you actually show me how it's going to work? Do you show me how it's going to look? How does it actually happen for the client?
If the client has not seen something like this or isn't aware and is just being introduced to a concept, then I make it a point to actually give them a demo. But if it's somebody who's already aware, then we just go into the finer details of how to execute it using that particular type of technology.
Right. Talking about executing technology or an event itself, how does it work? Does it mean that you go to the client and you find out what their needs are, you find out what sort of event they are planning? How does it actually work for you as an event manager?
So I'd like to start with the basics.
Please,
because just like anything else, if your foundation is strong, then it's great from then on. So I always ask the client all the necessary details, apart from the usual, which is the date, the venue, and what type of event, but where they're having it, when we're going to get the venue, how many people, what would be the seating, what would be the manner in which they enter. So every little detail I ask them about. And once I have all this information, then it makes it possible to package the event to the best.
Are clients sometimes difficult, Leeza? Tell me the truth, come on.
One of the most difficult clients I had was my sister.
Really? Yes. Meaning because she's a family member, is it?
Demanding.
Demanding? But there must be people who are very demanding, because I guess when you're actually paying for a service, do you find that they actually change their minds along the way? Do they change their minds at the last minute? Are they appreciative of what you're doing?
Well, part A of your question, do they change their minds along the way at the last minute? That's something that hasn't happened so far, because as something is decided upon, it's confirmed, I get it in writing, so I understand that that's how it will proceed. So there is no change that will come about later, because everything hinges on what has been already decided. So that's the answer to your first part of your question. And with regard to the second part of the question,
are they appreciative?
Just getting a handshake or just that pat on the back saying, thank you, you made a difference, and you can go another 48 hours without food and sleep.
Well, must feel good.
Yes.
Must be a feel-good
Yes.
factor. Now, you've been doing a lot of events over the years, and I'm just wondering if there is a typical type of event that you personally prefer. Do you prefer a corporate? Do you prefer a wedding? Do you prefer any other kind of event? Do you prefer a race? Do you prefer, what is it? Is there a special thing you'd like personally?
To be honest with you, I like variety.
Oh,
and
really?
that's the reason why, from the very beginning, I have never limited myself to doing only one kind of event. I believe that every kind of event brings its own set of challenges, and sometimes the same type of event also brings different challenges.
Right.
And
okay.
that's exciting, to be able to think afresh, to be able to think on one's feet at sometimes.
Yes, indeed.
So that appeals to me.
Right. When you actually started doing events, is it something you really wanted to do, Leeza? How did you actually, enter into this industry? I'm sure it must be a very demanding one.
Well, the industry wasn't the way it was when I got into it. And I come from a background of music theatre, fashion shows and dance shows, and that was something that I did right through school and college. So the association to events and the stage was always there. But I personally didn't think that events would become my career.
Bread and butter.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it a
Rightly
good
said.
business, really? Is it a good bread and butter business?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And the reason for saying that is not because one just goes out there and fleeces a client. That's not how it works. You don't last in the industry if you're going to do that.
It's a lot of hard work, Leeza.
Yes.
A lot of hard work, I can imagine. How long do you actually take? What's your planning time? Have you got a standard kind of format in your head that I need 1 month to plan this, or I need 6 months or 2 months? How does it work?
Well, it depends upon the event and also upon the client. So it varies from event to event.
Right. When you talk about an event,
Yes.
does it mean that you actually focus on every single thing that relates to that event? I mean, do you take care of everything? And I mean, I'm talking about maybe catering, maybe food, maybe arrangements, maybe decorations, maybe comparing, maybe, what exactly is your role?
Well, I take care of all the details. However, I don't touch food, but I do recommend what would be the appropriate type of cuisine for that particular event. But I don't take on the responsibility of food, but I do take on the responsibility of everything else from A to Z minus food.
Right. Over the years, Leeza, have you had a lot of people coming back to you and saying, well, I liked what you did at the last event, or I liked the way you did X person's event, or something like that? Does it happen a lot that you have repeat customers?
Yes.
You do?
For a good part of my career, that's how the business has been running.
Right. Leeza, we're going to take a very short break now, and when I come back, I'm going to ask you what it was like to be working overseas, and you've done various countries. Time for us for a very short break here on Going Beyond. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you.